What's good, man? Another one. Vitor Petrino versus Austen Lane. I don't know how to be. I feel about this fight, man. Um, mm, it's crazy. It's crazy because I don't know. A part of me feels like people are being too hard on Vitor Petrino, especially based on his. Shawshot McGee doesn't want to hear any of that. I mean, before I even make the case for Vitor Petrino, he's already like, no, Austin Lane. Um, Rene Lot, Vito shouldn't be minus 700. Is he minus 700? That's kind of crazy, man. That's honestly insane. I mean, I agree with that. I still do believe that he should be the favorite in this particular fight. I don't feel like Austin Lane is that great. He's very athletic, and that's just about it. He was barely able to out wrestle Robelis Despain. He tried. I don't see him out wrestling Vitor Petrino. In all honesty, I know that Vitor Petrino lost to Anthony Smith, right? Anthony Smith, even though we trashed on him, like I was one of those people, and I stand by it. But Anthony Smith fought John Jones. At some point in his career, Anthony Smith was actually a title contender, right? We're not just Dustin Jacoby is like a veteran, a really seasoned veteran in the light heavyweight division. So I mean, and even then, I still do feel like, and I've been saying this, and I will reiterate this point. I feel like Dustin Jacoby got lucky. In my opinion, you can say you can have your opinion on that. I feel like Vitor Petrino was actually winning that fight up until that knockout, right? So I don't know, man. I just don't feel like Austin Lane will be dangerous in the first round. Beyond that, I don't feel like he's going to have a lot to offer. I think Austin Lane is way past his prime. He came into the UFC too late. He's definitely improving, but I feel like his career started a little bit too late for him to make any significant changes. He can't really wrestle. His striking is average. Um, I don't see him out wrestling Vitor Petrino. I generally don't see him outstriking Vitor Petrino. Maybe it might happen by some miracle, but at this point, man, it's kind of hard to actually see Austin Lane. And I get Shoshat McGee's point of view. Like I think Vitor Petrino has disappointed him too many times, and he can't pick him again. And I understand that. I'm not going to even actually um, I can't fault him for not picking Vitor Petrino, but for me personally, and I will stand by what I'm saying. I felt like Jacoby was losing that fight up until that knockout, but could have, should have, would have don't count in MMA. But still. So let's get to the technicalities of it. Vitor Petrino will be in a deficiency, like Austin Lane has a 2.5 inch reach advantage. Not really an advantage when you guess out after the first round. Um, Vitor Petrino has a 73% finishing rate. Austin Lane is actually a pretty decent finisher. He has a 92% finishing rate. Wow. Okay. Who has he been? Who has he been finishing? Oh, are they counting? Oh, obviously, they're counting fights from the outside the UFC. Who? Let me see. I haven't actually seen like who has Austin Lane been finishing, bro. Like I'm curious to see who are the people that Austin Lane has been finishing. Um. Okay. Um. Tafa. Okay. Justin Tafa. Okay, I get it, but that was an early stoppage. It wasn't really a finish, so I really don't count that actually. Not an early stoppage. I think he got injured. Yes, he got injured. So that wasn't a stoppage. And then in the rematch, he Justin Taffa knocked him out. I mean, if you get knocked out by Justin Taffa, I mean, you're really bottom of the barrel. He lost to Jonathan Diniz. He went to a decision with um, Robelis de Spain, and then he lost to what do you call him, Marco Pinto via TKO. So when they say he has a 92% finishing rate, they're talking about people outside the UFC. Like what the hell? Like I'm out here looking at that finishing rate. I'm like, oh my god, 98%. And he's only ever finished one person in the UFC, and that person is who? He. It's not even a finish. Like how I'm not going to count that injury by Justin Taffa as a finish. To be honest, like I'm honestly not gonna count that as a finish. So in the UFC, Austin Lane doesn't have a finish. He has. Let me see. Let's minus the Justin Taffa one because it doesn't count. It was an injury. So how many wins does he have in the UFC? He has one win in the UFC out of four fights in the UFC. And that one win was via decision, and it was against um, Robelis de Spain. And he had to horribly wrestle Robelis de Spain. Nah, Shot McGee, my guy. I hear you, man, but I mean, come on, man. The guy doesn't have a win in the UFC except Robelis de Spain, a guy who can't wrestle, and he couldn't even finish him. Like, Robelis de Spain clearly can't wrestle, and Austin Lane couldn't even finish him. It's hard for me to actually sit here and say I could see a positive victory for Austin Lane. I can't, man. Let me go to the technicalities of it. I'm glad I actually looked at his resume. He has like, dude has one win in the UFC. Justin Taffa was injured. He knocked him out in the in the rematch, so that win doesn't count because there was an injury. Even here, even on the UFC, it's written could not continue. So that's not a legitimate win. So in all honesty, Austin Lane has one solid good win. It's not even a good win. I'm going too far when I say solid good win. It's not even a good win. It's not even a good win. So he couldn't even finish the Robeles de Spain, who can't even wrestle to save his life. So yeah, I mean, let's get into the technicalities. And when you consider the fact that what do you call him? Vitor Petrino is actually moving up from light heavyweight. So lighter man skill. Look at what Kennedy Zechugu is doing. I mean, even Ryan Span, even though he's been really trashy, even though he lost that heavyweight, but he looks a bit better coming from light heavyweight. So, in all honesty, I feel like the light heavyweight is gonna be faster. The striking is gonna be better. Austin Lane is past his prime. Even in his prime, I don't know how good he was because he started his career a little bit late. So I don't know, man. And I mean, Vitor Petrino has only lost two fights, and it was to really seasoned fighters. In Anthony Smith, a former title contender, the guy who fought John Jones. I know a lot of people don't really give a crap about John Jones at this point, but that means something. Anthony Smith is not Austin Lee. At least Anthony Smith is elite on the ground, and we all know that. Like, don't go to the ground with Anthony Smith unless you are a really really good grappler, right? Dustin Jacoby, amazing kickboxer, right? So even though I felt like Jacoby was losing that fight, I mean, still, Jacoby is a seasoned UFC fighter. Like, used to be a kickboxer. So Austin Lane is going to do that to Petrino. Like, these are the kind of guys that Petrino is good at beating. In all honesty, for me personally, at the very least. So yeah, Austin Lane with one win in the UFC, a decision over Robelis de Spain through horrible grappling, is not good enough for me to pick him. Finishing rate, I'm not going to count that. He hasn't finished anyone in the UFC, so that doesn't count. I'll give the advantage to Petrino. At the very least, he has a finish in the UFC. Um, Volume, I mean, Austin Lane, I don't think there's that much of a difference as far as volume, but I'll give a slight advantage to Austin Lane. Striking abilities, you know what? On the feet, I'm going to say the fight is going to be. It might be evenly matched. To be honest, I'm not going to say I don't feel like either of them will have an advantage as far as striking goes. But maybe Austin Lane in the first round might have some type of an advantage. There is athleticism in there, but he slowed down in the past year or something like that. He seems a little bit slower. But I will say Austin Lane is very dangerous in the first round. But I think both of them, in my opinion, will be very evenly matched on the feet. On the ground, I feel like Vitor Petrino is going to dominate, and I expect Vitor Petrino to actually shoot from the word goal. Austin Lane has a horrible takedown defense. Horrible. Okay, not horrible, but he has bad takedown defense. So I expect Vitor Petrino to actually shoot from the get go. Um, he used to be lighter, so he will probably be a little bit more athletic, a little bit faster. He's younger. I don't know, man. I don't see Austin Lane winning this fight, man. Maybe on the feet in the first round. That's the only way I see him. That's the only way I see Austin Lane actually winning this first round. You know what? I was agreeing that Vitor Petrino should not be minus 700, but after looking at this fight, okay, I'm not gonna justify my minus 700, but I do believe he should be the favorite, rightfully so. I think Austin Lane's resume in the UFC is horrible compared to um, Vitor Petrino, and even though people are criticizing him, Vitor Petrino has two losses in the UFC, and both are veterans, like really, really, really solid veterans, people who have over 10 fights in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. Austin Lane has only won one out of four of his fights in the UFC, which is kind of embarrassing. Not kind of, it's very embarrassing. Like his record in the UFC is one and it's what? No, yeah, 1-3-1 basically. 1-3-1. That's a horrible record. Going up against someone who was undefeated about 2 fights ago, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know what? Vitor Petrino takes this one. Um, let's go, Vito. Let me reply to you guys. Shoshat McGee, the Brazilian is slow, and Smith and Jacoby plus lane is huge, and Vito just bullies people. Okay, we'll see, man. Renee, that is Lord. Vito has a bad mentality and seems low IQ. Don't bet him. I agree. I agree. I forgot the IQ element. I agree because of the IQ. I don't think he should be minus 700, but I still do feel like he should be the favorite, though. George McGee, it's a Brazilian thing. To name the lot. However, I gotta go with him. Yeah, same here. George McGee, I'm betting Lane because got him M plus 500, and it's against the Brazilian. To name the lot. Lane is by far worse than Petrino. 100%, I agree. Renee, there is Lord Brazil. Remember this, Lord. I think Lane will get the KO'd, but minus 700 on a shitty low IQ fighter is crazy work. I agree. Remember this, Lord. Lane at plus 500 is a decent bet. Yeah. Shoshat McGee, if Lane's chin holds up, he will outpoint him or KO the Brazilian, but his chin never holds up. Remember, Shoshat McGee, I seen plus 500 and jumped on it like a tafa on a candy. Remember, Lord, bro, Lane didn't finish the tafa. It was an IPO no contest. Yeah, I forgot how that ended, but now that you're saying it, I remember. So, but still, it wasn't a win. He has one win in the UFC, so that's kind of embarrassing. And then he has 1 out of 4. So he's lost 3 fights and won one in the UFC. That's honestly sad. for lack of a better word. So yeah, that concludes this breakdown. Let me go to the last fight, and then that will be it for me today. So let's go to the last fight, which is Junior Tafa, another horrible dude, versus Tuka Tokos. You know what? Tokos doesn't seem too bad here. You know, he doesn't seem too bad. Wait, wasn't Junior Tafa? Oh, so Junior Tafa is dropping to light heavyweight. Maybe he might do better. You know what? Maybe Junior Tafa will probably be a little bit better. You know, cutting weight means he's training. I assume you can't cut weight if you're not doing anything about. And I still felt like he was too undersized for heavyweight. So I'm glad he's going to light heavyweight. Actually, let me go to that fight right now. So if you want to join me on the next breakdown, click on the channel, go to the live section and join me. And turn on your notifications so that you know when I go live next time. I love and appreciate all of you. Deuces.